All right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Here we are, just now 1 o'clock here on, the 31st, last day of the month. So, of course, we're going to dig in here. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, see if we can make some sense of this consolidation we're seeing right now. We'll look at the S&P and probably, if I have time here, we'll look at Ethereum as well. All right, so before we get into all of that and kind of dig in here, just a quick little housekeeping. Just a reminder here, our website is now fully launched here. We're out of, what do we want to call it, a soft launch into a hard launch. So all of this is fully functional. For any of you that have an interest, you would notice here, if you looked at us previously, we've redone all the price points here. So the belts are now available for individual purchase. You don't have to be tied to a monthly payments schedule to participate in the belt system, and you can just take them at whatever pace is appropriate for you. And I think you'll find that the pricing is more accommodative to particularly to people that are working or doing this as kind of as a part-time thing. So, alarm going off. So I think that's clear here. Now, many of you also know that we have a very, very active ninja indicator business. I always say active, busy, thriving. I'm going to say it that way. And you can get to that here a couple of different ways. So first, just up here on the top, if you click on trading indicators, that'll take you over to the TradeDevils indicators site. But additionally, I just wanted to make the point that we've now separated because it was getting a little bit confusing. People saying, wait a minute, are you about ninja day trading in the futures market, or are you about crypto and Elliott Wave analysis? And in the interest of trying to make that clarification, we've separated the two channels, so you can now get all of the details or your interest level, depending on the details on all the indicators that we produce and make available to traders is over here now on TradeDevils indicator. So you can find it's a different page. It's under the same umbrella of TradeDevils, but to find it, you'd go to TradeDevils indicators. You see it both in the handle. Now, once you're over here, of course, you will see reference to the what do I want to call that, the parent site. But all the playlists are where you're going to find all the content specific to the indicator videos. All right, and there's some training, and there's actually a lot of content. There's over 100 videos in there, all focused on day trading in the futures market and then demonstrating the tools that we create for traders. So that's available. And then we are live streaming over here on Tuesdays and Thursdays back to our original site over here, and the site that you're on now, right? Obviously, we're live streaming on Wednesdays, where we take charts the members are interested in, and we do some analysis there based on their technical skills and the way they're approaching it. Often you'll find good ideas there because you've got a whole lot of people approaching the market with the same technical lens, and you can often find some good setups there. So that's happening on Wednesdays. Of course, we record all of these so you can catch them whatever time is best for you. Okay, all of that said, I think that's my housekeeping here. Let's get over to Bitcoin. Okay, so I know you can't really see in here right now, but it would appear now that we're not. I struggle with this. We're not completely out of the woods here. You can see us banging into the what would be the obvious resistance, right? So prior support becomes a resistance. Now, there's a lot of good happening here in the context of the amount of negative news that's being thrown at crypto here. Just lack of a better way to describe it. Certainly, there's a lot of negative news, and the fact that Bitcoin has not sold off is really noteworthy. This range that we're in here, I would certainly like to see us here if indeed we've done a 1-2, get up to really show the strength of the move here. So perhaps we can get a completed impulse here out at this degree. Now note I'm on the daily and I'm in log scale. So we're talking about some fairly big moves to come out of here, but boy, I would just so love to see it. Well, what you'd like to see is some sort of a break above and then come back and test from above. That's what you'd hope to see here to give you more conviction that, okay, prior resistance now becoming the support. You'd like to see that this last push here. So I'm less reluctant to just say it's time to be a buyer here than if we were to get a break, right? So my approach to trading, and again, take it, leave it. I would never buy that. Now, I say that, and then if it goes, I'll get 25 comments. Oh, you dumbass, right? You missed the whole. That's such a silly comment. I don't even reply to them. My trading rules would prevent me from buying that, right? And that's after almost 30 years of doing this. I do not buy breakouts. I don't do it, right? So it's just my trading rule, right? You don't have to agree. So, but I will let it go. If it's going to break, right? Of course, we're not going to go sideways forever. There's going to be a breakout, one side or the other. When we get a breakout, I will let it go, right? Because I'm fairly certain as you can be, and with as much certainty as we get in the markets, that we're not going to go in a straight line to new all-time highs. Is it possible? Fuck, anything's possible. But my assumption would be if we break here, there will be enough temptation for the people that caught the breakout, and it would take the slightest little whiff of some selling pressure, and then we're going to retrace, right? And then the trailing stops and profit gets taken, and we'd come back. So maybe that's the 3 of the, and then we'd have 4 and 5. So the 1, 2 would be in here. We'd have a 3, 4. We'd get up to that 3, and I'm using that because I just happen to know that's 1.618. That's the range, 1618, 175 for a projection for a potential wave 3 here. Again, nothing says it has to stop here. It could just keep going, but that would be a reasonable projection. So if we can do the 1, 2, 3 retrace tests from above, then I will buy aggressively, right? Because now that fits my trading plan, right? So it's never. I'm never here to tell you what to do. I don't do that. I don't do that in our Discord. Members, I don't do that. We never say buy it here, sell it here, stop here. We don't do that. Or sell it here, stop here, target here. We just don't do that. What we're teaching you is how to come to that conclusion yourself, right? Because if I give it to you, I've been saying this a lot lately, if I give it to you, well, how does that strengthen you as a trader? Well, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, shit, it looks like it's moving. I don't know what to do. I better check with TradeDevils. That weakens you, not strengthens you, right? So that's not what we're about. It's not what we do. So geez, I get a lot of hate comments. All of that stuff, why? I'm not telling you what to do. So save your time and your breath. Okay, so here we sit now. It looks like we are going to have to, I reluctantly succumb here, although it's in the back of my head. I'm just still a little bit uneasy with it because it's such an ugly finish. And if this is going to be, this will be a pretty significant low. If that's the low, that's our 2, and we're off to new all-time highs. This, boy, makes me uncomfortable. It's just not a clean finish. Can we do it? We can label it. Yeah, we can label it. I've got it labeled. I have a solution here. So if we're going to go here, excuse me, allergies still plague me. If we're still going to go here, damn it. See, it used to be you didn't know I was doing that. I could just mute. Now you got to see me do it. Trust me, I'm investing heavily in trying to find a solution. Anyway, I digress. So if we're going to finish it, we've got to do it. It would appear to me. What makes me uncomfortable with it is I don't get a clean 5 down here. And if it is WXYX, then the size of the second ABC is awfully compressed relative to the prior one. So it makes me just a little bit uncomfortable with it. And I guess, what does that mean? Well, I'm certainly not selling my Bitcoin because I'm uncomfortable. But if we come down, if we don't get the launch here and we start to roll over, there is certainly a count here that we can transition to pretty quickly, because it would suggest that this is some sort of a flat. This 3 here. So again, we've looked at this. So something along these lines, and then we're gonna need to finish with a bigger ABC to come down here. So hang on. Okay, so that's what makes me just a little bit uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is how, I don't know, are you ever utterly, just totally at ease in the market? There's always a little bit of stress with it, which is not a bad thing, right? It keeps you sharp. So just word of caution, right? So it's duly noted that we still threaten there. Until we get up here, what was it? It's the 40-ish in the low 40s. Then we can lock in on that. Now, one thing to note here as well is if this is, I should note here, I'm over on BitGet, which is our sponsor, which is why we like them and why I'm always always using them for the chart analysis. If it's 1, 2 coming down here, well, in log scale, of course, we've come right to a 50. Now, if we zoom in here a little bit, we got a lot of 50s going on. So again, this is log scale. So if I keep it in log scale and I go from my low to my high, all right, it's 50 target. Now you look at that and you go, oh, okay, well, is that just chart magic? Oh, well, wait a minute. So I've got a low here of 15, a high of 30. That's 2 times the range. Really not enough when we compress down to this, to what we're looking at here, to really say, well, I got to look at it in log scale. But if I take it out of log scale, because I don't have the same need to be there, well, one thing that changes, the 50 down here is dramatically different, right? So if I go back along here, that we're at 50 from the low. If I come out, we're well beyond, well, we'd be past the 786 most likely. But if I come here, it's not like I break the golden zone here. So I still have algo participation, and if indeed this is where they picked it up here, because they'll start at the 50 and keep going until the 65. Well, they went damn near straight shot to target. So whether log or arithmetic, targets have been hit. This algo has been paid. Now this one, do we have one here? Well, not on the big picture, we don't, right? Unless it's trading in log scale. So with that all said, let's clear this up a little bit. Now, this is getting a little tricky up here for the Elliottician here, trying to come up with a count. And the first question we have to ask always is it helpful to apply the Elliott here? Is it giving me additional insight, or is it helpful in the decision-making process here? Well, I don't know that you need the Elliott here to look at this and go, well, okay, we've come into a prior range of consolidation, and here all I did was I just used the volume of, what do we call it? The free, where you can just draw it. Here, I'll just do it. I just took this volume profile. I went to that last pivot high and I went through the low here and said, okay, of this consolidation, where's the POC? And just drew that here, and we've come just shy of that. You can see it's a bit reflected over here. But this little consolidation, I don't know that I need Elliott Wave to guide me here to say, well, that's likely to be some resistance. Now, you don't know really what, I mean, is this shorts defending? Could be. It could be shorts. It could be longs here that, oh, we're finally back into this range. Let me get the hell out. I mean, that would be a lot of drawdown to sit through, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of it. So as we are wrestling with this, well, then you'd look at it and go, oh, okay, well, how about the Elliott count, right? Is it helpful to me? Well, I think we'd likely all agree that we complete an impulse here. This is hard to argue with, right? That we went 3, 4, and we got a 5. Internally, right? The channeling's not bad either here. And we get to the midline here, so I mean, it's a pretty good looking impulse. Sharp correction, right? Which holds, we just looked at this, right? It holds the golden zone. So ideal location for a 2. I mean, that's the highest probability location for a 2. So seems reasonable to put the 2 there. Now, as we launch here, we've run out of steam. Now, so we have this consolidation. So we get this just rocket launch here, just vertical. And now all of a sudden we're running out of steam. Now, why? Right? So first question is why? Well, it could just be consolidation. Could be certainly some of the governmental issue here is causing. Well, we can assume that institutions are less likely to be going big into crypto here until we get some regulatory clarification. It's getting better, but we still don't have absolute clarity. And at least certainly here in the U.S., right? So it's a question: is the U.S. going to give up the opportunity to be a leader in the crypto space? Remains to be seen. But right now, they're certainly making it complicated, so that what they're doing is slowing things down, right? So, but behind the scenes, we know crypto builders, entrepreneurs are still very active, very busy, very engaged. And I don't see anything that suggests that crypto's going away, certainly. But what do we got? I don't know. We got 20,000 cryptocurrencies. I would imagine 95% of them go away. That still leave you a pretty good number of cryptos. And then there'll be new ones coming, right, as the industry matures. But so as we sit here, there's a lot of babble. Okay, 1, 2. Now, what are we doing here? We got to go. Let's go to a 2 hour, see if we can make sense of this. It gets a little funky up here. So what are we doing? If it's 1, 2, well, I can certainly get an impulse here, but then we're not getting anything corrective here. We're just getting a lot of sideways. Now, this you can get pretty complicated here for the Elliottician, right? So first question is, do you give a shit, right? I mean, seriously, I mean, I say that partly in jest. You have to be drawn to the puzzle, right? So can I get the puzzle pieces to give me something here that's valid per Elliott rules and guidelines? Well, yeah, and actually you can get it, you can dig even deeper into this. But for the broad strokes, I think this looks reasonable here. So I can finish the impulse here. Here's a little triangle. And we can finish the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. Now we're going into this sideways cluster here. If it's we can certainly see a series of 3. So if it's A, B, C, right, the waterfall you'd have to call impulsive. So that would be your C. Then I got a 3, kind of a droopy 3 here into a B, and then I got a clear impulse again. So it's very tempting, and I'm fully aware of this, right? And there was a trade there. Now note I'm out of log scale. So if I pull from the B through the 5 high, right? Can't make that stuff up. All right, we come right to the golden zone, right to the POC. So, of course, one thought is, oh, well, okay, maybe the correction is done here. It would be incredibly shallow, and we'd have to relabel it. Oh, shit, you probably do it WXY. You could, right? So you could just do a WXY rather than what we have here, which is a higher X. Well, if we go out and we get towards this algo target, which you don't want to assume, oh, well, I don't want to say with conviction, well, it's definitely not going to do that. But why would it, right? I mean, the bigger question is, why wouldn't it? So then you got to look from the other side. Now, there's a little wick, right? So you might give the advantage to bulls here, but it's not a close beyond, right? It's just wick that's gone through. So a little bit of a fist fight here, right? Bulls and bears stuck in a box. Right here, right? All right, they got to fight it out. One of them's going to survive, one of them's not. So you'd give the slight edge here to the bulls, right? Because of the break, despite the fact that it's only a wick break. So this, though, certainly looks like reasonable. And we just kind of look through here, and it's the POC, and it's a golden zone. So you look and you think, and so your next thought is, well, oh, okay, but you're saying 3, 4, 1, 2, we're going down, but if we go up here and get this, could it still be the X? Well, you're going to probably start to reconsidering labeling here, which would be a high-class problem for a bull, right? Oh, wait a second. We'd likely be changing it here, so this would be, so we'd have to do it this way. We'd do it here on the fly here. I'm just going to reorient here. So we'd have WXY. So if I put it in, we'd have WXY, which would give us a very shallow 2 per the count as it's labeled. So let's get you out of here. Let's get you out of here. All right. Now, there are alternates here, no doubt about it. So one is that the 5 is not in, and that this is the 3. And what's really striking about this is, because it can't get much closer, is that we don't overlap so consider this possibility here. If the 5 is not in yet, and the 3 is up here, and the 1 here, and the 4 is over here, and the 2 here, I'm doing this on the fly here, and we got a 1, 2 here, we went to a shallow 3, and this consolidation is part of a 4. And if it's here, and then we're thinking, oh, 1, 2, off we go for 3, 4, 5 to get to the 5 done. Well, it's funky, that's for sure. And you'd have a clear invalidation point, because we get up here too far, and 3 will be the shortest. So we can invalidate this count if we're going to rocket launch here. What kind of has me leaning here, and this is in context of conversation with my team, and I remind you, I'm probably the weakest Elliottician on my team. I've got some really talented people. But if we're coming down for the 4, if it's a 2 or a 4, either one would be the ideal zone here, between 26 and 25. If we were to come back down here for this as a 4, for the 4 to be done here, right? And we'd be going 1, 2 this way. Now, if it's 3, 4, right, and the 5 is in, well, then again, this is an area we want to be looking for between this, we'll call it 26 to 25. So if we do come back down here, it depends what we do here. It looks like we got a 5 here. This could be a B if we're going to come down in something like that. Well, you'd be watching for the wave 1 here. All right, is it a 1 or a 3? You know, it's right now, of the two, if I had to pick, all right, gun to head, I'd be more inclined to be thinking we've completed and we're seeking a shallow 2 here. It's too soon to call it, right? So see, this is a bit of the potential is this for a fake, right? So because it looks like an impulse here, but there's not enough juice here yet, right now. I say that, right? By Monday, it'll be at 30,000 or 40,000. There's not enough here yet to where you'd say, oh, okay, well, probably a little trade there off of the golden zone here that you'd get up to that target. But for the bigger swing structure here, I'm going to personally, again, just me, I'm going to like this a whole lot better down here about the 38.25-ish. And then now you look at it and you say, okay, well, let's bring that over here and see what that looks like. And how that would play with the context of what's come previously. Remember, technical analysis is almost all about context, right? So we start bringing that over here, and all this resistance here, now we got up through, now we came down, we tested. Do we need to get a little deeper into it and test again? Does this need to come down a little further? Test again? I mean, boy. Well, I just went on a rant here telling you we don't tell you what to do. Here's what I can tell you. If we're coming back here to this range here at 25, high 25s, I would be very interested there. We'll just call it an area of interest. Now, does that mean I'm sitting here with a limit order? Probably not. Again, to the weekend, if it happens in the weekend, right, I'm not watching the market 24/7. But if I saw a pop here and a little retrace, I'd be inclined to be thinking we're about to do that. It's tricky in here. This is definitely true. Oh, got below here. Let's go to a 60. So, of course, we want to kind of keep an eye on volume or indicators that give us a reflection of volume. This is an OBV. It's a good one. What is this one called? OBV oscillator. It's a good one. So it's just showing me the unbalanced volume, but it's also giving me a little bit of divergence here, and it's kind of some clues here. So we can see here, and I'm down to 60, where our momentum, right, is just kind of floundered. Could be end of the month. It could be a lot of reasons for it, but we're sitting here essentially in a squeeze. We've got a contraction after the expansion, and we go down to the 60. So then now this impulse, this last little impulse, really starts to stand out. Shit, it's dropped dead, right? What a beautiful looking impulse. So we see a 5. It's either beginning something or ending something. Well, 1, 2, right? Although it does look like a 5, doesn't it? Right. So thus the idea that this is an X, right? And we still got the Y here. Fuck here, I'll get all this all wonky again. So if it's a flat and this is the C this is the C leg to give us the X, and then we've gone 5 followed by 3. Again, we just drew that up. Well, okay. Wait a second. Right, we're coming to golden zone. If we're coming down for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we're looking for an ABC to finish it. If it's an X, we need an ABC to finish it to give us the Y. This is the zone that would be of definite interest if there's a correction in the making. Right now, we don't know. Right, nobody knows. Don't let anyone telling you they know what's coming. Turn, run, hide your wallet. Right, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It's this A, right? Shit, that could be A. It could be A. A, it's not much of a 3, but we could have something like that. And the Y comes in here. And again, we're right back to where we just drew it. Like, whoa, that would make sense. If we're going a little deeper, right? I like it just as much down here, right? Because this could be the 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we need a deeper. Maybe that's just the 1 of the A. Too soon to call it. One thing I know for sure is that whenever we're staring at a B or a 2, right, is there any question, again, just something I make a point of stressing, where are the stops, right? Where's the liquidity? Well, you can make a case here. Well, obviously there was some liquidity here. Down we go. Back up to grab that liquidity. Down we go. We get new lows here. Just like at 2 here, it's the same concept, right? If they can't get the liquidity that's there, they got to cover, right? Same thing up here. So you had a little breakout here, right? So you had the breakout from the 3, went up there. So we now know there's a shitload of liquidity up there, right? That everybody knows, right? We know there's liquidity up there. We also know there's liquidity now sitting up here. Right? What's the market's job? Facilitate transactions, right? So that's the whole point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boy, that sure looks like a good 5 coming down. So if this was 1, so think of it this way: if you're a bull and you're thinking, oh hey man, that looks like a good impulse here. Fuck man, I see an impulse, I buy it. Well, here, so from 27, what'd you get there to 28? I mean, there was a nice looking trade there with a little leverage. I wouldn't be upset about that. But if my point here is a B is always a failure to get to the obvious liquidity, and sometimes they get it right. You get an expanded B. And then they're up to grab the liquidity, and then comes the C. But right now, if they can't get there, right? They can't, right? Draw it over, right? A lot of struggle to get beyond this. 1 pump, dump, more dump, right? If they can't get there, because there's bulls here that are going, oh, new high, right? Breakout traders they're salivating. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, right? And if they can't get there, all of a sudden bulls have to cover. Down it goes. You're triggering stops. Shorts are adding. Right? You got everything that drives a C, right? So you'd be thinking, hey, if that's a B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm in a couple of things would happen there, right? You would get some clarification. We would know for sure this can't be a 1, right? Well, this can't be 1 with a 4, right? Because we'd have the overlap. Right now, the fact that we're not overlapping is a bit of a tease, right? You're like, God damn, I can't eliminate that possibility, right? Because this kind of thing does not happen randomly, right? The fact that we are coming just shy of overlapping that is not random. There are no random. You've heard me say this before. There are no random pivots in the market, right? There's a reason for everything. All right, so A, B, we coming down for the C. I would be interested in this 25, 26 range. You might even, I don't know that I would be going heavy leverage here, because there's too much. You got to make your own call there. A lot of volatility events in the background. So I would, if I'm trading with leverage, I'm keeping it light. Spot. Right, you could accumulate in here in the mid 20s, right? If Bitcoin's going to go accumulating in the mid 20s, right, with spot without leverage, so you can sustain if there's another leg down. Reasonable thought, reasonable. The other thought here, which one of my team was quick to highlight here, because of if indeed it's going to be a 2, right, because of the sharpness of the prior correction here, if it's 1, 2 and this is 1, 2, it wouldn't be unreasonable to come into the prior area of the 3, 4 for that retracement for a shallow 2 before we go again, right? If it's 1, 2, 1 and we're coming down for the 2 and then we're going to go again, you wouldn't necessarily be down here, oh, give me the 7, 8, 6, I want a deep 2 because then I've got more upside in my 3. This would be consistent with Elliott tendencies for it to be a shallow 2 at this degree, right? So if it's 1, 2, and this is the 1, and we're going through this cluster F here to try and get to a WXY here. Fuck. WXY. Oh shit, do I have it? Oh no, excuse me. It would be here. Oh, I've juggled them enough here that they're a little off here, but it would be 5. It would be A. Oh, fuck. Just to keep it simple, right? Let's just keep it simple, right? I can go back, something like that, right? So the structure here would be 3. This is the 2, between the 3 and the 4, and off we go. All right, that's probably enough babble about Bitcoin, right? It just needs to give us some more clarity and get out of this little consolidation zone that we're just sitting in here. Are we accumulating before we launch, or are we distributing before we fall? Too soon to tell. But we're pausing, right? That's for sure. Okay, let me pause right there myself, and let's go take a look at Ethereum. So, well, so here I am on ETH. I'm on Bitstamp here. I guess it doesn't matter. It's kind of the same thing, right? It looks exactly the same. What are we doing here, right? 1, 2, 1. What is it? This is much. This is actually even cleaner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. It's hard to not call that a completed impulse. Now, what are we completing? Right, would be the question. But look at all the threes here. You got 3, 3, 3. So you can do a W, X, Y, A, B. Yep, you can. Right. So you got a W, X, Y there. So you got W. You'd have to do A, expand the B into the C. Right. For that. Is that a 2? Well, again, look at it. All right, where we're coming here. Let's go. We'll go here. So we're between the 23 and the 38. We came right up to one tick in front of that demand zone here. It's kind of the same idea, right? Right. Prior resistance gets through, comes back. Right. It's potential. Right. It's always just potential support. So is this one shallow 2? Looks like we're working on an impulse here. If it's not, boy, is this an ugly 4, if that's what it is. I mean, and you can do the same kind of thing, right? You can essentially put the 1 up here and say, okay, well, the 5's not done yet here. This is a 3. 2's over here. The 4's got to come in here. Here, I'll make that bigger so you can see it. Right, the 4's got to come in here. If this is 1, 2, 3, it sure looks 4-like, and if we're going to go here, right, you're expecting the bigger rip here to go, so you wouldn't be using that algo target necessarily, right? Because this is not an. It's just out of curiosity here. We get it. Well, it's wick, right off the secondary pivot. I go back 1. See, algo's not going to care, right? So that's you've got a candidate here. Right here, if we're coming off of these, and again, I'm using the internal. I've got this one. This one's probably too far, right? We lose the 50 there. But here, either one of these are candidates here, and I say that one only because it's wick only. A lot of consolidation, right? So don't feel like, God, I've got to be in the market, right? So I got to do something. I got to buy it. I got to sell it. My view here is there's nothing really to do there. Well, you probably had the same kind of thing. And this looks like a 1, 2, 3. This looks like, oh, Jesus, 4. Let's see if that played ball here. Right, there's a perfect 50. If this is 1, 2, 3, A, B, fuck, that's not pretty at all. Well, there's 50 to the tick. So you'd have this. The swing high here would be, if assuming it's an algo that's participating in here. I can go here, still just as good. Right, but does this scream? I got to do something. I got to do something. Do you have to do something? Right, sometimes the best thing to do is nothing, and that is doing something. All right, let me get over to the ES. Hang on. Okay, over to the ES here, where we've got this count that could go multiple different. The implication still suggests that we have a test down here in the low 3s, 31, 32-ish. If it's A, if this is 5 into an A, B, we're in the 1, 2. All right, so the assumption would be that this is the B, we're doing the 2, and we're going to go 3, 4, 5 like this to finish it. The alternate is that it's a WXY, oh shit, WXYXABC. Either way that you count that, the implication is for lower prices, which seems to be contrary to what the market is doing right now. But is it? Is it really? And today, last day of the month, this is entirely about option expiration. Entirely, right? There's no fundamental news. This is pure reaction to $1 trillion a day of 0 DTE options trading, right? So the market rallies. There was some clear gamma levels where market makers are going to have to hedge, right? So because remember, if it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's retail institutions, if they're buying calls, who's on the other side of that? Market makers, always on the other side of it. So it doesn't matter if you're selling 500, 5,000, or 5 million, they're on the other side of it. So they don't want any directional exposure. So if the market starts to rally, what do they have to do? They have to buy, if we're looking at the ES, they have to buy futures, right? If we're talking about an equity, they got to buy the stock, right? It's the same thing, right? And that adds more fuel to the upside, which is why you get these extreme moves like which has become the norm lately, right? I mean, 20 years ago when I was a broker, right? 20 points in the S&P was a big day. Now 20 points that's just opening range. So here we go. Looking at this, it's kind of the same concept before. I've got a clear 5 coming down. We've looked at this a couple of times, right? I've got a pretty hard to argue with that 5, right? But did I end something here, right? Because if it's a 5, I'm either beginning or ending. What would I be ending here to get this to say, oh, we're off to new highs? It's tough to see that one, right? It's tough to see it right now. Maybe it's just we don't have enough data, we can't see it, or maybe it's me, all right? But as far as I'm concerned, that's a 5 followed by a 3. Now I've got a 5, kind of a choppy looking 3. But just as we said before, whether it's an A or a 2, that's a 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, I'll put that. Oh shit! What do you know here? I guess we can use white. If that's let's go down here. All right. So if this is a 2, is there any question mark about where the stops are? All right, where the liquidity is? Well, we can look at both of these. Not much question. Right. There was very little question about the liquidity here. Right. Do you see what they did here? Up we go here, right? Here it is, right? They grab liquidity, down we go. So if we're coming back up here, remember a 2 is, I promise you there's going to be a push to get liquidity there. Whether, it doesn't matter, right? God damn it. That makes me crazy. It doesn't matter if they're going up here to grab liquidity or whether they're going up here to use that liquidity to come back and check the golden zone here, although that's a different pull. So the idea here is if it's a 2 right now, well, 2 and a B would have some difference here, because if we get beyond this, can't be a 2, right? It can be a B, but it can't be a 2. So if we come up here and we're pushing now, we're at 786 from this swing here. We're at 786 now. If we keep going next week, we get to 887. Well, it's getting pretty skinny there, right? But for the potential of this to be invalidated as a 2. But remember, the push is always to get as close as we can. The closer we get, the higher the motivation is to get there. The closer we get. So what happens there? So retail looks at it and goes breakout, right? Breakout traders are salivating, right? So again, I think it's probably pretty well established here that I would tell you that's the single worst place to enter the market. You can't find a worse place, right? Because you're so vulnerable if you do it there. So if you want to be long, you should be long now, going into the pivot. But if you're not, if they can't get it, all the longs, right? They got to cover. Oh shit! Here come the sellers. Oh shit! Right? And that's how it happens. See, we have a tendency, as I've described this before, to look at that and go, "Oh, it's going up. Oh, it's going up." Well, I can see it. It's just going to fill in you fill in the space in your mind, in your mind's eye, and that's dangerous to do here. So while you see a break here, that's not relevant to this pivot, right? That's relevant to this pivot, right? That's spot in, target not hit. So when we go here, should we get right here? I promise you there'll be retail buying there because they have no idea that golden zone's there. It's just reality, right? It's just how it works, right? I promise you there'll be people buying right into that. Promise. They will buy right in. Now they may get. I'm not saying that it won't do this. I'm never saying that. I'm saying that would be. I mean, do you want to buy it right into the golden zone? I promise you, retail will. There will be many. Did I say many? Many that will buy it right there. Right at the golden zone with not a clue, and they won't understand if it doesn't turn. I mean, shit, maybe it does. If it doesn't go, they're going to be what? Why? I was sure that was going to go. Right? Sort of like exactly the same thinking that happened right here. Oh, it's going to go. It's going to go. Look, here's the pivot. It's going to go. Oh, I know it's going to go. Right? Can you see how that could repeat itself right here? Different pull, right? Different pull, right? Same concept, same software sitting right there. Wait, just say, really, it's like a lion waiting for for the Gazelle. Right? Oh, come on in, right? Come right into, you're literally coming right into the bushes where I'm crouching and hiding. Come on in there so I can rip your throat out. That's how it works, guys. Okay, with that, I guess I'm done here, right? So hope to see you guys on a couple of live streams, right? So live streams, well, you got to be a member here to post your content, but it's free to all to participate. Again, you'll get lots of trade ideas there. And if you're interested in day trading in the futures market and have an interest in Ninja Trader, well, check out our other channel. I think you'll find lots of interesting tools there. Okay, with that, I will wrap it up. Wish you guys a good weekend. I guess next time I'm on would be Tuesday for a live stream over on the indicator side. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next week.